I don't see major regulatory changes in 2025 that will significantly impact cybersecurity and risk management strategies because we've already had a few that have come into place over the last 18 months. We're seeing some state regulations now coming into effect, but where I see the companies really focusing is in the enhanced reporting requirements for cyber incidents. That kind of plays into some of the regulations that are already in place. They're asking for more reporting, earlier reporting, and being clear on what was affected by cyber risk incidents. We also see a major focus on this critical infrastructure protection. It's an area that's very vulnerable, and we see a lot of a focus on there. And we also see AI and emerging technology regulation that could start to come together and be a big focus for companies in 2025.
Here are the regulatory changes I foresee coming that will have significant impact on cybersecurity and risk management strategies. And there's a few of them here. So let's take the SEC cybersecurity rules. We're going to have a change in the SEC head, new administration coming in. So what does that mean for the cyber rules? Do they get rolled back? Do they stay in place? That's something we have to look at as we move into 2025. Okay. So that there's definitely something there on the SEC side. And the SEC requirements are really kind of a response to the SolarWinds attack and the Colonial Pipeline attack, for example. And so I was a big proponent of the SEC cyber rules. I do not want to see them rolled back, but it's possible they do get rolled back in 2025. The other thing we're going to see is kind of reactionary regulations coming out from things like the Change Healthcare attack, right? We know there's a bill floating around Congress on making sure that the healthcare system is better secured. And so you're going to see those kind of gut reactions of you see an attack, somebody to do something about it. The Supreme Court decisions earlier this year make it really clear that the agencies by themselves, SEC, HHS, others, are not going to be able to regulate too much without legal law behind it. That's the Chevron case that came down. So I think it'll be interesting to see what Congress does. Now, here's the opportunity. And here's one change I'd love to see in the industry, and that is a comprehensive data privacy breach regulation that can also tie in AI regulation. And here's why. If we don't do it at the federal level, each of the states are going to do it on their own. We already have this with breach law. We already have this with privacy regulations. I think it's easier to manage one federal regulation than it will be 50 state regulations. And so I would like to see some streamlining of certain regulations to make it easier for business to grow, because they don't have to worry about 50 variations of a potential state law. And let's nail it down in one federal law. So that's what I'd like to see. But I think we're going to see a bunch of other little changes along the way.
I foresee regulatory changes in 2025 that will significantly impact cybersecurity and risk management strategies as centering on one big question. To what extent are the voluntary frameworks that are already out there in the United States in particular, to what extent are they going to get on a path toward codification in law? So NIST has recently announced that they're going to have a testing risk for AI national task force. They did release the artificial intelligence risk management framework last year, but there really is no, and the Biden administration was pretty clear on its approach to AI risk and safety and did quite a lot of work in that area. But it's not really on a path to become legal. There is a case to be made that, overly regulating nascent technology can be stifling to some extent. But, I think you see kind of two sides of it. There's the side that thinks AI is an existential threat to society and to humans. And then there's the side that says, are you kidding me? It can't even do what a toddler does. that has to be settled out. Europe is taking a much more technocratic approach. The AI Act is enforceable in some ways. I think we're going to have to look to Europe, for this one, just like we have for privacy, And I don't think here in the States, I think we subscribe to a model of capitalism that is like, let's just break a bunch of stuff and see what happens, So that's just the way we go at it here. It's still the Wild West to some extent. So, we will definitely see. I think it's going to be also the approach to cyber regulation is going to follow the same basic pattern it has faced, which is, if SolarWinds happens, we talk about regulation. The SEC, will do some summary judgments. Remains to be seen what's going to happen there as well. After the Colonial hack, you saw the 2 directives come out of TSA. The United Change Healthcare, brought HHS up, and HHS is making some announcements. So we'll continue to maybe see some of that as well. You will only see regulatory progress in the wake of something that seems to have systemic effects for the broader economy.